4 pieces of information for you that came through when I was shuffling earlier, and then we'll go into the spread for this month. So the first thing that I'm feeling here is, this month overall, financially, things are looking really, really good. Things are very stable. But I feel like there might be some hang-ups when it comes to getting payment that is due to you. I feel like you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork in order to get whatever is meant for you, whatever your compensation is supposed to be. So I feel like there's still a lot of paperwork that you need to sign. There's still a lot of contracts even that you just need to look over and you need to sign in order to get, the financial, whatever is due to you. For those of you who are self-employed, especially, you own a business where you are hiring other people, I also feel there might be some financial hang-ups when it comes to getting the money in. So, clients or customers or contracts with clients or customers might be a little bit problematic. Clients are not doing their part in order to uphold the end of the bargain. I also feel legal contractual issues coming through if you are self-employed. I feel the money itself is consistent, but there's something, I'm seeing like some blockages for you to like actually secure the money that's owed to you because of financial reasons. And so I do sense some of you might need to, make trips, take short trips to go meet with clients or to even, meet a legal body, a legal authority body in order to get all the paperwork in order to get some type of a resolution, okay? For others of you, I feel like in your work environment, there's a lot of things to do, but it feels like everything is kind of lined up. You need to get A done in order to get to B, and then in order to, work on C project and so forth. So you're waiting for other people to do their portion so that you can follow through, which can be a little bit aggravating. And it's not like you can distract yourself with other things while you're waiting, right? It's not like you can, jump to B, C, D, because parts needs to be done in a very chronological order. So that's a little bit frustrating. And I feel like there is a lot of downtime. It doesn't seem to me like it's super busy this month. There's a lot of downtime for you to just kind of twiddle your thumb and you're in the office, or even you could be self-employed. And there just seems to me to be a lot of downtime. And as a result of it, you feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And so there's just overall a lot of free time left over, okay? What I'm also sensing as well, for those of you with children in particular, I feel like there are some things when it comes to children at school. It's like they're not able to, it's also like back to school season here in the northern hemisphere. So I feel like they're not able to get the class that they want. They don't meet the grades. They don't have enough units. They don't have enough credit. So there's some lack of momentum, lack of movement here as it relates to children, especially if they are still in school, or if you have grown children, there might be issues when it comes to, work issues, work situations that they feel like they're not making traction. So you're going to be hearing about that either via your own children. For some of you without your own children, I feel like you are hearing about this through siblings and even nieces and nephews, but I feel like the sibling vibes coming in very strongly. And I'm also sensing as well, there might be a situation like somebody, especially siblings in the household environment, somebody is doing something that they're not supposed to, and everyone is convening to have a big family discussion. Everyone is kind of like phone tagging, calling each other, and, trying to talk about like that specific family member and what can be done in order to help them. So I do see a lot of talks here regarding performance, regarding work situations, regarding academic performance as it relates to a child or a family member who is not like who's not able to, pull their weight in a specific situation. third message, I guess, here, what it relates to is I feel for some of you in the relationship sector, I feel like there's a lot of family interference in your relationships, okay? So you might be married or dating somebody, and there might be, like times where your own personal family, mom, dad, siblings, whatever it is, requires your attention, and your partner as well requires your attention. There might also be a lot of family gatherings, and your partner feels a little bit burnt out, like, I don't want to, see that side of the family all the time. So I feel like there's tension coming into relationships, because it feels to me as if you're trying to blend the two. You're trying to bring your partner into your family unit, and your partner might not be a social person, so they might not want to do that. And then likewise, I feel like the demands of your own personal family unit trumps that of the demands of the relationship. So there is going to be a little bit of communication breakdown. So I feel like your partner might not want to do, might not be involved in the family for whatever reason. It's personal preference for them. And so you are learning to hold back your tongue, and I feel that you are trying to be patient with them. So that's what I feel coming through in the relationship sector, okay? Wow, you've got a lot of water signs coming into this spread. Usually, if it's the same suit, we have here the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the King of Cups. So usually what you do, okay? It's like people in your same clan, in your same group, also in the same, like with the same nature, with the same bloodline. So what I feel here is I'm sensing for some of you, there might be some type of, I feel like siblings. I feel siblings, especially younger people, like below the age of 30. They're dealing with some things where they're not being accountable for their actions. So, for example, we have this guy, okay? So this is the King of Cups. It's not indicating to me so much like a water sign, but I do feel for many of you it could be. But I feel like this is an energy of somebody who is full of wisdom, who doesn't really resort to escapism to, not deal with the reality of his or her situation. We also have the Knight of Cups, which is a very creative, very caring, very loving type of a person. They have a good heart generally, but they want to please other people a little bit too much. And then we have, the very young Page of Cups energy in the reverse position. This is somebody that resorts to escapism, possibly, drugs, alcohol, or even aligning themselves with bad people because they are so eager to please. And then when you confront them of a specific situation, when you confront them about their actions, when you tell them you need to grow up, you need to be responsible, I feel like you are telling somebody about this. I see those words like, escaping your mouth this month. You need to grow up. You need to take care of yourself. You need to be responsible. You cannot be a burden on society, or you cannot be a burden on the rest of the family. So I feel this element coming through where somebody's just kind of coasting through life, not really taking ownership of their actions, and there is a victim mentality associated with this card, okay? So for some of you, it could be a water sign, so a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio that you are dealing with. And then for others of you, I feel that it is somebody within your family unit under the age of 30 that is behaving this way. And I feel as if they're dealing with a lot of internal conflict, okay? So this is a card overall about strife, about not having harmony, not having peace, not having, like, I feel like this person is really tied up with you. And as a result of it, they might not, it's almost like you never, when they're out of sight, you always worry about them. So I do feel there is a lot of love here. But when they're out of the picture, it gives you anxiety. You know, on the one hand, you need to kind of relinquish control and let them live their lives. But on the other hand, I feel like when they're out of sight, you're just like, I wonder what they're up to. I wonder if they're okay. I wonder if, you know, they have enough food to eat. I wonder if they're making good decisions. So I feel like you're constantly conflicted about how you deal with this situation as well. Do I, you know, support them, give them all the love, all the affection that they need, and just enable the situation? Or do I tell it as it is, you know, be very stern, very firm, and just set them in their place? And so you're trying to figure out what's the best course of action, because on the one hand, you understand that when it comes to like withholding love and affection and exercising tough love with this person, you feel like it might isolate that person, because I don't feel like a lot of people are as patient with this person the way that you are. And so you're just trying to decide, like, they're messing up their life, they're going down a, you know, bad path. So do I just ignore it, and or do I just give them, you know, tough love? And I also feel like you care about them, and they're kind of burning bridges left and right. So you feel like if you were to kind of cut them off or to stop supporting them when they're in a jam, who will they turn to? You're afraid that they're going to turn to the other bad people. So I feel that element coming through here. And I also feel that the path that you're going to take is towards emotional support. You understand that they might not have that family structure, they might not have that love and that support from other people. And so you are exercising a little bit of caution, but at the same time, I feel like what's going to end up happening is you are going to give them the love and the support, even though you feel like this person aggravates me. I wish they would grow up. I wish they would, you know, get their life course in order. And I wish like I could give them a piece of my mind, but I feel like ultimately, you know, that that might isolate and sever that relationship that you have with them. So you're going to try to soften the blow a little bit by giving them the love and support, which is something I would expect from you Capricorns, because I feel like you are a very astute observer of human nature, and you know that human capacity. You know, when people are good, they can be really really good, and when they're bad, it's like they can be redirected and guided towards the right path. So a lot of you come into positions where you mentor or you teach or you help others in some way. And so I feel like this energy is really testing you. And I would also say that sometimes tough love is going to be required depending on who we're dealing with, okay? So I feel like even though you are taking the softer approach, I just want you to be a little bit careful about enabling a situation or enabling a person who is not accountable for their own actions. So just be careful about that, because once again, victim mentality here. This is like the woe is me card. I do all of these things for all the other people, but no one is showing me, you know, um, no one is showing me their appreciation. And this is not your energy so much. It's the person that you're dealing with who is not taking control of their lives, who is kind of like who is a victim of their circumstance. And I do feel that on the one hand, you do understand, because it might be in your family, so you might have similar upbringing. But on the other hand, I just feel like this is not somebody that can grow and learn and, you know, be the best that they can be if others keep enabling them, okay? So this enabling behavior needs to stop from somewhere. Maybe if you put your foot down, if you behave in a stern, in a very, you know, tell it as it is type of a way, you might lose out on the relationship, and the other person might get defensive, and you might have to walk away from the relationship. But I do feel that it might actually set them on a correct course of action where they realize that your patience is running thin. They might not take advantage of this situation anymore, and they might actually shape up, okay? So I hope that, you know, this provides some guidance for you guys, especially if it's a younger person that you're dealing with or someone under the age of 30, especially in the family unit, okay? The other card that is coming through here, we have here the Ten of Wands. And let me just say this. The past 10 months So this to me denotes like a type of energy, and it's predicting like time frame. So the past 10 months, things have been really, really, really piling on. Things have been really busy, very hectic. A lot of swift changes have happened in your life. I feel for many of you, this is a card about picking up the pieces and moving. So there might have been a lot of travel. There might have been a lot of like change in environment. There might have been like physically, emotionally, psychologically, or even like energetically, like just draining work that you needed to get done. A lot of tedious work, a lot of like carrying heavy equipment around, moving from one place to the next, and kind of like setting up a temporary shop where you can operate out of, where you can work out of. I see a lot of relief worker, like people setting up, like a first aid, like little hut where you can operate and see clients. I see a lot of like people, lawyers especially, doing some type of pro bono work where you go to a an area that is heavily afflicted. You set up like a little temporary canopy, a little camp or a little tent, and then you see clients. So this is like setting up shop. So the last 10 months, inclement weather, so a lot of rain, hail, sleet, even like very severe, hot weather where you're carrying a lot of equipment, a lot of stuff, and things have been a little bit difficult for you in terms of navigation, okay? It's showing up in the reverse position. So things are going to be not hectic at all this month. So I feel like you have a lot of downtime. You have a lot of time to recuperate. But I want you to be careful. Like, you're used to this energy. You work in a really methodical manner. You're used to this. And so you're used to like handling multiple things at the same time. You're used to having multiple projects running at the same time. And you're used to this fast-paced, chaotic type of an environment. So when things slow down, take the time and the moment to slow down with the energy. It's basically telling you, kind of like the calm before the storm. It's basically telling you, you need a breather. Here, we're giving you a breather. So you need to really slow down. So don't take on additional projects, especially if others are coming to you not able to handle their own responsibilities. And they're just like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you do this for me or do that for me? And you're just like, well, I've done it in the past, I've done it in the past, so why not? Well, the thing is, take some time off, take care of yourself, and, having some downtime, don't feel guilty about it. I feel like Capricorns and Virgos, you guys, whenever you're kind of free and you don't have a lot on your plate, you always find something to do because you feel guilty just sitting still. I feel like some Taurian people, you're like that too, but I feel like, Capricorn, Virgos just constantly have to dither and tinker with something. So if they're telling you, if the energy slows down for this month, take the time to really be in the moment. Don't feel like, okay, I need to do something. I need something to keep me sharp, to keep me on my toes. So you might end up taking on other people's responsibilities right into it. And so be careful, please. What I also feel as well is this is a card of being in a very deep meditative state. Okay, this is a card overall about reassessing progress, waiting on a outcome from a progress. So I see a lot of you. This is usually what I think about, like somebody working in a laboratory. They're testing something and they have to wait like 5 days in order to see the results. And they have different experiments or different tests that they're running. And they have to, take some time off, document everything that they see, document everything that they observe in their lab, notebook. And then they come back and they add a different reaction to it and see how it reacts. And then they document it again. So I feel like some of the work that you're doing, it feels to me like it's very stop, go, where you can't just get all the phases of the work done. You have to, do it one day at a time. And it can prove to be very unsatisfying and very, very taxing because you would prefer to just knock it out of the way and move on to the next task. So you have multiple projects that are running concurrently, but I feel like there's a little bit of a stalled energy and they're not moving in the manner that you would hope. Okay. I also feel as well there might be some trips taken. This is a card overall when it comes to travel, and it deals with communication from far away, communication coming through via electronic means, and communication coming through like in some type of a indirect, rather than physically interacting with someone. This is kind of like distance communication. We have the Eight of Wands shown up in the reverse position. So there is going to be some type of a slowdown as it relates to communication, playing phone tag, calling somebody, they're not there, they might be on a different time zone, and then they call you back and you're on a different time zone when you might be sleeping, you might be out. And so there's this consistent, phone tag, not being able to move forward, not being able to get the results or the answers that you want right then and there when it's meaningful, when you need it. So it's going to feel a little bit like just stop, go, stop, go. And it can be a little bit frustrating, but I just feel like all the downtime in the meantime is for you to just kind of sit back and relax a little bit. And I also feel like with your work situation, there might be some stalled communication here when it comes to clients. They might be traveling, they might be out of the picture, and so it's not you. Don't take it personally. Just follow up with them when you can. Do the best that you can. Don't get frustrated, okay? I'm getting a very big legal counsel with this card. And I honestly feel, especially for those of you who are self-employed, I feel like there might be some extravagant spending, okay? This is a little bit of, it's not a bad card, but usually I think this is somebody who indulges, who likes the finer things in life, who likes, wine, especially alcohol, especially, wanting to have a good life, a very pleasurable life. It's a person that enjoys the life of leisure. And so if you have a legal counsel and you're dealing with some issues as it relates to your finances, as it relates to your company, how much money is coming in, how much money is leaving, and they're telling you, you need to stall this energy a little bit. Don't be so self-indulgent. Don't, buy too many expensive things. And I feel like this is for a very small minority of you, because Capricorns are just you're very good with money. And I feel like you spend very conservatively. And so this is for a small minority where you might even be dealing with somebody and you're just like, you're being too extravagant. Possibly a relationship partner or a business partner or somebody within your family even. And they're just overspending, overindulging, spending money that they don't have. And then they find themselves kind of like on the outs and they ask you for money even. So I want you to be very careful about, where you're putting this energy, and be very careful about enabling this type of behavior, okay? I just feel like the overall energy for this month is you want to give somebody a piece of advice. You want to give somebody a piece of your mind. You want to tell them to shape up. But you're hesitant about doing that because, for the reasons I explained earlier, you don't want to isolate that person. And you also want to continue to show your support. But it's becoming very, very difficult. And so I feel like no matter what, by the end of this month, you might walk away from this situation and realize that it is not your battle to fight, that the other person needs to do this on their own. And the sooner that you come to that realization, I feel like the easier it's going to be for you because, like I said before, it's an enabling behavior. You might do it out of love or you might do it out of guilt. And when we do things out of guilt, it can backfire, okay? Don't do things unless you feel like you are personally aligned with the choices that you make, because I feel like you're in a situation here where you're looking for a project to work on. You're looking for something to fix, and this person doesn't need fixing from you. They need to be accountable for their actions, okay? So let me see if there's anything that came in earlier, because when the 3 court cards came out, I got distracted with that. I feel like relationships, okay, relationship partners in general, I'm just sensing that there might be some type of family values misalignment between you, your family, and then your relationship partner. And we are all, shaped by our family upbringing, but I feel like there's something innately, some family values issues that might be clashing between you and your partner where you don't really see eye to eye. So for example, it could be a religious thing where you and your partner might be different religions or different cultures or different races and different ethnicities, and you want to raise the child a specific way, your partner might not. And so there's this, conflict of interest. And likewise, you might have a very, you might have a very close-knit family, and I feel many of you do. Your partner might not. And so it's really hard to introduce your partner and to get your partner to go to all these family functions and to have that same, to replicate that close-knit family when your partner is not into that. Okay? And it can go both ways. And I feel like for some of you, you're highly independent. It might be your partner that wants to have a close-knit family unit and you're not really ready for that, or you feel like that's not okay for whatever reason because of values differences, because of cultural differences and things like that. Okay? So I hope this is helpful for you guys. And oh, the last card, I forgot to talk about this one. The Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is kind of like being, it's like taking another, like one next step is going to end all your struggles. One last step is going to end your struggle. So if you are helping with somebody and they perpetually mess up and you feel like it's okay, I'll just help them one other time. Be careful about that, okay? Because I feel like while you see it as, like the end justifies the means, I feel like in this situation, it would be best for you. We have here the Nine of Wands, and we have here the Eight of Wands and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is just dropping a big burden because you don't want to be bothered with it anymore. And so you're just like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I want to fight it. I want to just, get through the last stage of the process. And they're telling you, make sure that it is your battle that you're fighting. Make sure you're struggling for something that is meaningful, sustainable, and long-lasting. Otherwise, you're just struggling for somebody else's burden that they need to be accountable for. Okay? So, Capricorns, I hope that is helpful for you guys. Let me go into your love reading and see what's in store for you. So, love, romance. We've got a bunch of air signs here showing up. It runs counter to the previous reading where it was a bunch of water signs. Okay, these flipped over. I'm going to reshuffle here. Okay, you've got 3 air signs. Okay, so let me just talk first of all about this crowning energy. The crowning energy is something that you are thinking about and something that the person or the situation that you are thinking about. So we have here an air sign. So this is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. This is the Knight of Swords. This is someone who's, I want to say like, they're very intelligent. They generally have a good heart, very articulate. But I feel like they can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to, their opinions, their beliefs, their thoughts. So once they have their opinion made up about a specific course of action or a specific idea, they never sway, and they can be a little bit difficult to argue with, to convince, to talk to, because they're a little bit dogmatic, and they can be a little bit tunnel vision. So it's almost like they're examining a situation from their own perspective, rather than being able to put themselves in other people's shoes to understand a situation holistically. So I feel like you have this person that you're dealing with, and we have here as well the Emperor. And the Emperor is showing up in the reverse position. So I feel like this is someone who is incredibly, incredibly stubborn. And they might be a little bit tunnel vision. I feel like they are honest, but they might, withhold information or tell you like half truths in order to persuade or distort a situation so that you see things from their point of view. So I feel like there's a lot of power struggles and conflict that you have with this person, but I don't feel like it's getting out of hand yet. I just feel like there are definitely ideological like differences between the two of you. You feel like they need to slow down. You want to slow the relationship down, or you want to tell them like you need to slow down and observe things from a more holistic standpoint rather than being so fixed and so dogmatic in the way that they do things and in the things that they believe in. So I feel like you are dealing with this, and I also feel like generally, Capricorns, you are very go with the flow. And so I feel like this month is a really important time for you to put your foot down. So the Emperor, I feel like this can also be your energy where you're very like, rather than taking control, rather than putting your foot down and telling the other person, this is the way that it's going to be. I feel like you're swept off your feet by this person. You're going along for the ride, and it can create a little bit of problems in the future. And let me explain why. We have the same air sign. So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra showing up in the reverse position, as well as the Four of Cups. So I feel as if you're swept up for the ride, or if they're moving things too fast, or the way that they're behaving is not in accordance with the things that you value and the things that you believe, but you still stay in this relationship, or you don't give them a piece of your mind, it can get to to a situation where they start to hold back more of the truth. They start to distort the truth, or they start to present to you a story that is, not entirely true in order to get you to feel a specific way. And so the power struggle and the conflict, I feel, will escalate in the future. And that's when you're going to be here at this point with the Four of Cups, where you are re-examining whether or not this is somebody that is good for you to be with. And I also feel like when you disagree with this person, they can take it very personally, and they can also turn their sword and, attack you. Not like physically, but I feel like they can turn their swords and kind of cut you down by telling you that, oh, you're not being supportive, that you're not, understanding what I'm saying. But I feel like there might be some issues when it comes to the way that they think, the way that they behave, and the way that they kind of maneuver and distort the truth to get what they want. So I feel like you are, if you are in a relationship here with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, you're doing some massive reassessment. Whether or not this is still worth staying in, whether or not this is going to, work out long term for you. So there's some major, major reassessment here. What I have at the center of the spread, once again, is the Page of Swords. But I feel like this is an energy. This is like information, news, communication coming through. And you're not really sure what to do. So I feel like you're not really reacting. You have the text message or the email or, the phone call from the other person. And you're just like, what do they want? What do they want? What are their intentions? Because I feel like they might just contact you in a very nonchalant way. Like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And you're just like, I don't know how to respond to that. So I feel like you're going to take your time to really mull it over before you give any type of a response. And I feel like the past interaction that you have with this person that's communicating with you, there was possibly a stable relationship that you had together, possibly a marriage where you both, share, you both might have had a marriage contract, or you both might have shared a living situation together, sharing space, like a living arrangement together. But this is a romantic partner, and the relationship was quite significant. And I also feel as well, you're not going to know what to do with the information. And I do sense like in the past, that's how they reeled you in. They always just, like nonchalantly contacted you. And they might just say like, they might just say like, hey, what are you doing? And I feel like you go back to that situation here with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups in the reverse is going back to a situation that brought about a lot of sorrow. There might have been a lot of power struggles, a lot of disputes, a lot of mistrust, I feel. But I feel like the relationship in the past, it was very good, okay? It was very stable. And you feel like, I feel like you overlook a lot of this person's flaws. And a lot of it has to do with, just the way that they're exciting. I feel like they're exciting. They don't hold on to grudges. But I also feel like the way that they communicate and the way that they behave might be a little bit childish. And it's kind of like somebody who just runs through life without examining their course of action, without having a game plan, or without doing a lot of introspection about their actions and their past consequences. So it's somebody who might be considered a little bit irresponsible. Okay, and so in the past you might have always have gone back to this situation, and now you're just like, I want to make a clean break, but I don't know how to do that. So you are taking extra time to really reassess. The foundation is something that you already know. We have here the Five of Wands, and the Five of Wands is conflict. It's perpetual. It's not seeing eye to eye. It's being so different from each other where harmony and true stability can't really happen. Okay, and I feel like you feel very, very stuck as to what to do. Some of you, financially, you might be in a relationship with another person here with the Two of Pentacles. And for financial considerations, even though you don't get along, even though things are not as it should be, you're not able to get yourself out of this situation. For some of you, you might be dealing with a fire sign here, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this situation feels very disempowering because you feel very stuck. You feel almost as if they're always verbally attacking you, or they're very negative and they can be very antagonistic. And you feel like everything that you do is not good enough. You feel like, what can I do in this situation? How can I make it better? How can I resolve the conflict here? How can I, make them see things from my point of view, or to at least consider my point of view? So Capricorns, there are some relationships here that we need to examine. And last month during that major, massive solar eclipse, I feel like a lot of people have come to terms with their significant relationships. And they've had to let relationships go. So I feel that you might have broken up with somebody and there's still communication from them, and you're trying to figure out what to do. Because what you know is that this relationship is very conflict driven. There's a lot of power struggles. This person, they're exciting, but they might, be a little bit manipulative, or they might distort the truth. I'm seeing a lot of air signs, and I'm also seeing fire signs as well, okay, in this spread, with the Emperor and also the Five of Wands. But for all intent and purposes, it could also be a water sign too. And so you have to really put yourself first here, and you have to really look at a situation through, the lens of longevity. Like, where is this going 5-10 years from now? Or even 5-10 months from now? Can I be with that person? And it seems to me like you already know the answers, but it also feels to me like you're very you feel like, if I don't fix this, I ultimately fail. So you're very patient about wanting to fix things, and you feel that you should fix it. But, this is not really your battle. Okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope the information is helpful for you guys, and keep me posted, on what you're doing here, okay? I hope you can get yourself to a better relationship, all right? So if you're doing the videos, but the time slots for appointments will be, significantly reduced, okay? So I wish you all the best. If you'd like to donate to the channel as well, if the reading resonates with you, please share and subscribe. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the link to the donation page is also in the description box, okay? I wish you the best, Capricorns. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.